I remember the exact moment my world shattered, though at the time, I didn't even realize it. My phone buzzed while I was sitting in the sterile silence of the courthouse hallway. I just signed the final papers, the ones that ended my marriage after 8 years, and my chest was still heavy with the echo of the judge's gavel. I expected a kind of numb relief, maybe even a sliver of freedom, but nothing could prepare me for the text I saw. I can't stop smiling. Finally free, faced with tears of joy. It was from her, my wife, the woman I had trusted with my life, who had promised me forever. I stared at the message, my mind racing, heart pounding, confusion clawing at my skull. Did she just laugh? Right after our divorce was finalized, I remember gripping the bench like it was the only anchor I had left. My stomach twisted, anger bubbled, sharp and bitter. But beneath it, there was something else, something worse than anger, betrayal. It didn't start here, though there had been subtle signs for months. Little things I ignored because I didn't want to believe them. Her phone would buzz in the night, and she'd hush me with a perfunctory, "Just work stuff." She started coming home later, claiming traffic or overtime, but the smell of unfamiliar perfume in our bedroom told a different story. I'd catch glimpses of hidden messages flashing across her screen when she thought I wasn't looking. Deleted conversations, odd names, cryptic emojis. I questioned myself first. Was I imagining it? Paranoid? Maybe I wasn't enough. Maybe I had missed something fundamental in our relationship. The tipping point came one rainy evening. I had gone to grab my jacket from the closet, and her phone slipped from the shelf. The screen lit up with a message preview. "Tonight was perfect. Can't wait to see you again. Red heart." The name was unfamiliar. My fingers felt numb as I scrolled through the thread. Each message sliced deeper than the last, a steady drip of truth I didn't want to acknowledge. Photos, intimate jokes, plans for dates I never knew existed. And then it hit me, the realization of how long this had been going on. My wife had been living a double life right under my nose. I tried to make sense of it, to understand the why. She was charming, apologetic when caught, always ready with a justification. "I felt lonely," she said once. "You were distant, always working, never really here." I couldn't argue with that completely. Maybe I had been wrapped up in my own life, but it didn't make a betrayal any less sharp, any less personal. Memories began to betray me too. Every smile, every touch, every whispered promise started to feel like a lie. I remembered her laughing at some stupid joke in the kitchen, and now it echoed differently in my mind, mocking, secretive. The little acts of affection I had cherished turned into cruel reminders of what I had been blind to. The intimacy, the late-night conversations, the way she used to rest her head on my shoulder, they all felt stolen, not shared. When I confronted her, I wasn't the man she had known. I was calm, almost attached. The rage I had carried for months had been tempered into quiet, icy resolve. "Why?" I asked, not shouting, not pleading, just a simple, hollow why. She didn't cry, didn't beg, at least not yet. She explained, offered excuses, painted her loneliness as justification, her need for attention as unavoidable. I listened, but my heart refused her words. There was a truth there she couldn't rewrite. I had loved her fiercely, and she had returned that love selectively, in fits and pieces, while nurturing another life in secret. 9 months later, the knock on my door startled me. I wasn't expecting anyone. Standing there was her, flustered, teary-eyed, completely undone. I made a mistake," she whispered. "I want another chance. Please, I can fix this." I felt the old stirrings, the instinct to forgive, to reclaim what we had, but it was buried under layers of memory of deceit. I looked at her and saw the person I had loved, and simultaneously, the one who had shattered me. Her words, desperate and raw, echoed to the hollow space of my chest. But I didn't move. I didn't speak. In that silence, I realized something profound. I didn't need her forgiveness, and I didn't need her back. I needed myself to heal, to reclaim the trust and dignity she had taken for granted. I closed the door gently, hearing her sobs fade into the hallway, and I felt an unfamiliar lightness. It wasn't victory. It wasn't triumph. It was freedom. The quiet, solemn kind that comes from finally protecting your heart. I walked to the window. Looking out at the city, I had once imagined building a life in together. Now, I imagined building it alone, stronger, wiser, and unshackled. The sting of betrayal would linger, of course. Memories of her laughter, once so comforting, now felt like ghosts. But beneath it all, I felt something I hadn't in a long time. Clarity. The lesson was harsh, the wound deep, but the message was simple. Love doesn't erase betrayal. Trust, once broken, doesn't mend with apologies. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do for yourself is to say goodbye. Not with rage, not with bitterness, but with quiet, unwavering resolve. I never looked back. Not because I didn't feel the pain, but because I had learned to honor it, to let it guide me, not imprison me. And somewhere in that heartbreak, I discovered the truth. My worth was never defined by someone else's choices.